Hi everyone, welcome to a special Prog Rocks podcast with me, David Hall. I'm speaking with Clive Nolan and Laura Piazzai of band Imaginaerium. Clive is, of course, a wonderful composer for Arena, Shadowland, Pendragon, Caamora, and Laura is a fantastic Italian vocalist. She's been in No Limits Caamora and she joined the Imaginarium project around 2018, I think. They brought out an album called The Rise of Medici in 2023. It was that long ago, wasn't it? And I actually interviewed you both last year, and you did a wonderful concert in the Netherlands in 2024. So far, nothing over here. But the good news is there is a new album called Siege released on the 4th of April. And there is already a new single called All There Is to See. So that's a brief introduction to you both. Can you give me a gist of the story behind Siege?
Well, it sort of emerged as we started putting songs together for the album. It became apparent that there was a theme, and that theme was literally the thing of being under siege. And it could be as simple as one person in the world just feeling under siege from the rest of the world. And I just wanted to use the sort of ancient culture thing again. So we've used the sort of ancient warrior sieges of fortresses and this and the other as a way of kind of putting this particular point across. And it's not a concept album in terms of a narrative, but it is a conceptual album. It's a concept album in terms of the fact that all the songs are approaching this idea of being under siege from different angles, whether it be through sickness or paranoia or just sheer numbers. So that's the basic idea.
And the story is Boudica, isn't it? Who was around in round about 60 AD. Time
Well, the
of the
story for that song is Cry Boudica, yes, but that's not the story of the whole album. That's
right,
each
okay.
song is a different thing, basically. It's not one.
Ah, right.
No, we're not. That's what I said. It's not a narrative. It's not telling one story. It's approaching the concept of being under siege from different angles and using history as we do with Imaginarium, using history as our way of kind of hanging the stories. So Boudica is a classic example. I mean, not only did she feel under siege by the fact that the country itself had been invaded by the Romans, but she actually put them under siege by, turning the tables around and fighting back. So that was a nice starter to the album.
All right, you got me there. So I listened right through to the album yesterday. I thought originally it was about Boudica, rather than the concept of what you just mentioned. So, from the start of the first track was Boudica, and then the last track was almost the call to arms. So it isn't really that related, historically, like a historical opera.
No, no, it's just that we've used a lot of those sort of ancient cultures, whether it's Roman, whether it's Viking, or whatever, as just a way of kind of colouring the ideas. And Boudica, as I say, was a good way of starting the subject off, and then you've got like the final readout, which is in my mind, because it was inspired from the film Zulu, so you can make your own imaginations on that. Blood Moon is that classic scenario of laying siege to the fortress. They're like very much like the front cover of the album itself. And some of the other songs are slightly more insular. Some of them are introspective. So songs like Deep and um, I've forgotten the names of the songs, but some of those
When My
ones,
Eyes Are
All There Is to
Closed,
See,
for
When My Eyes Are
example.
Closed, All There Is to See,
Okay.
they are more introspective, more sort of one person trying to hold the rest of the world out in some
Right,
way.
Right.
And then we got Footprints, which is in between, let's say, the Viking and what we can say this introspective walk, I call it. So it's a bit in between. It's very interesting, actually. So it has even two versions, because we have a very beautiful version also on the bonus. All songs developed quite, let's say, naturally, right, Clive? This album came along like one after the other. It was like an inspiration after the other. So it's literally, some songs were written the day before I left Italy to reach Clive in the UK. And he just said, well, I got the 2 days before, I got like Footprints last minute, I got Boudica last minute. So I never had the chance to even listen to them so much, just the first listening. And then on the plane, and then I really got into the songs while he was literally into other songs. He was really composing when my eyes are closed, because that was another song that came to life when we were there together. So it's a beautiful path, I think. Very, very, how can we say? Yes, naturally entered each and every...
It was an organic process. I mean, basically, the intention originally was to write a completely different album. Laura was coming over to record effectively the follow-up album to Outside In, which was basically an album of reinterpretations of songs I'd written in the past.
Except two songs like Whole Again and
I basically agreed that I would write at least one new song for that album. So I wrote All There Is to See. And that kind of led me in thinking along to another piece of material, and then gradually, well, I'd sort of opened a gate really when I did that, and I started to think, well, actually, we could do this, we could do that. So by the time Laura arrived to record the follow up to Outside In, most of that album didn't exist anymore, and instead I was presenting her with just a load of new material, which by then was conclusively Imaginaerium as well. So yeah, it just came out of nowhere. I wasn't planning it. In fact, that's very lucky that it did, because it's been the only period of time this last year that I had to actually do any writing. So it was sort of fortuitous.
So the other band members on the album, did they contribute remotely, or were you all in the studio at once? Or
well, the beauty is it's not a band. That's the first thing, and
project members.
Because it's a project, which means, you know, for example, the people we used for the Medici album is different to who we used for this album, and maybe if we do another album, different again. We choose people for the job in hand. In this particular setup, Simone and Mirko on guitars and Luis on bass, and then turned out that Mirko, who I have worked with before on guitars, turned out he could play drums. So yes, they all work remotely. They sent me in their stuff. I'd sort of edited, mucked around, and found what it is we wanted from it, and that was it. It was actually a wonderfully painless process, I have to say. It was, you know, I've recorded a lot of albums, and that one was very easy to record, really, and that's a good sign.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it, Laura? Did you enjoy the process of coming over here?
Every single second.
Because you love Britain, don't you?
You know, as you know me well, because we speak quite often, you and I, very funny chats, you and I. And you know that I want to die Brit, I used to say. So this is my final goal, once I've lived, of course. So I just asked, Clive, for my death, do you want to write me a requiem, a happy one? I asked him this. No, it's actually, every time I have to fly over to the UK, I just... I feel like so excited.
Not easier to live here. Not easier to live here, Laura.
I would love.
I'm not entirely sure that right at the moment is the best time to want to live in this country.
But it's the same everywhere.
Things are not necessarily that brilliant over here at the moment. I'm sure it'll improve in 50, 60 years. Something like that.
Oh, no.
50 years, okay, that's it.
But I'm telling you what, as part of your wish, I'll always be very happy to pop you on top of a burning funeral pyre, if that's any help.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you. So I can prepare it out of the meat hall. I want to be
yeah,
burnt.
well, no problem.
Do you both
That's
Got a
have?
big fire pit.
a big one. I'm tall. I need something serious. A great celebration.
Do you both
Yeah, but
have? Do you both have
it,
any sort of favorite tracks off the album? You know,
everyone,
particularly.
yes, everyone, every single
Yeah, I
track.
mean, I think it very much. I often get asked this about albums, and I find it changes, and it changes just due to my mood. But one that it's always made me smile, and I think that's kind of a good thing. Is the Never Burn the Cakes, which is a very very simple song. It's really a busking song. It's a couple of acoustic guitars, a bass, and actually, funnily enough, a pouch of coins just as a percussion sound. And it's yeah, it's a very simple idea. And yeah, it's kind of that song brings me a certain amount of pleasure to listen to. I'm very proud of all of it, but that's if you want me to choose one, then as an example.
And
You
this
look.
is the first time I actually have to say, in the Medici, I had some favorites, let's say. In this one, I can't choose. I can't choose because each and every song is, I don't know, it's I love them all. Really.
I particularly enjoyed the deep track, Clive. I thought that was an
Yeah,
amazing track,
thank you.
and the actual track on the bonus disc, the string instrumental.
Version. Yeah. Well,
Which
the thing about Deep is there's kind of a thing to that because we were over in Holland doing this performance back in January. So this was around the time that I was sort of starting to come to the conclusion that we were going to be writing a new album. And I knew that Laura would deliver on all the big power tracks that I was going to write. But I really wanted to explore some other part of her voice. I just remember sitting in Holland and I could hear these strings doing this da 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 da, this real sort of up and down thing. And I sat in a room of a friend where we were staying in Holland, and I wrote most of the lyrics sitting just in this lounge with kids running around and all sorts of chaos. And I just remember just sitting there writing the lyrics. I knew what the song had to be about. So it's one of those rare examples where I had the basic idea of the flavor of the music, but I actually wrote the lyrics before I actually wrote the music, or at least, shall I say, actually nailed the music. But I think it's an important track because it took Laura in a very different direction, I think it worked. It was a good thing that we did. So, yeah.
how did
It
you
was
find it?
amazing because I remember I was drinking tea. We were rehearsing, and I was drinking tea, and I heard Clive playing this, the string thing on, and I was attracted by it. So I said, "What is it? I mean, it's beautiful," and there it was. We had this beautiful track coming, and I really had it inside.
It's a brilliant track. Laura, would you feel good doing like an album of that kind of vocal? You know,
Oh
rather than
yes,
the
oh
strong
yes,
vocals all the time.
yes, yes. Definitely, yes. Something very deep, we can say. Yes, 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 for sure. I enjoyed singing that track as much as I enjoyed singing Boudica or The Final Redoubt or whatever. Another thing that I enjoyed a lot, because I'm very personal. You recognize me, I think, when you hear my voice, I really want to deliver something in each and every phrase, in each and everything. What I enjoyed with Clive also was when I had to put my voice, the backing vocals on his track, which is a very beautiful one of my favorite actually, The Last Arrow. And he said, "Here, you just have to go like, yes, a backing singer. You don't have to be Laura, you don't have to be personal and everything. So just follow me, what I do. And that was another challenge for me because I'm so used to deliver, a lot. I enjoyed that thing too, that process to be, how to say, really his second voice, like I was his second female voice, and that was beautiful too. It's and so for when we made the this cake song, and in that moment fit each other for the various pieces. That was another amazing process of recording. Yeah, that's really, everything has been easy, but very, very, very strong. Every single song has something that I really enjoyed strongly. Yes.
And Clive, on the bonus disc is a Dorian Gray track, which I think appeared on a Shadowland album previously, didn't it? Is that something that's going to be developed more, or is it just a nod to the past?
That was a leftover. That's the last leftover from our original plan of doing the sequel, if you like, to Outside In. And we had chosen an album's worth of material, and Laura really liked Dorian Gray, and that song hadn't really had much of an outing. It was a bonus track that I sang on a Japanese version of I can't remember the first or second album, but very early doors. It was, so a lot of people, I used to do it. I think I used to do it live. I can't remember now, but anyway, it didn't, it didn't see much light of day. So basically, it seemed like a nice idea to include it in the Outside In idea. And when we moved across to Imaginaerium, we kind of didn't want to let it go because Laura had done a great performance of it, and basically, it brought the thing to life, and I felt it deserved another outing. So that's the last leftover from the original plan.
But it wasn't just because of the performance, but also because it actually fitted in with
and
the
it fitted in with the theme.
Of course, yeah. That was the magic point, let's say.
Because everything else, we did have other songs that Laura had recorded for this other project, and we dropped them one by one as they became less and less relevant until eventually they were all dropped, apart from
we couldn't let this one go because of the whole on the concept of the song, and we said, well, in the bonus album perhaps, but it has to be in.
So the album comes out on the 4th of April, is that right? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And the big question, are there going to be live performances this year?
Yeah, I think there will be in October this year. We're going to do a debut performance of at one of these Mead Hall events that I'm putting on here, and that'll be announced officially soon. And then after that, we've got a couple more dates that we're going to do out in Europe. It'll lean very much towards the Siege material, but also Medici. But the whole show will become about siege, about being under siege. So the Medici stuff will be amalgamated into the theme of what we're doing for this. And we're going to use we're going to use this, what I call the chamber lineup, which is what we did in Holland, which is basically myself and Laura, the two guitarists, Mirko, Simone, and Natalie, another singer, to add some kind of depth to the backing vocals and stuff as well. And between us will be guitars and acoustics and bass guitar and percussion, and I'll play some piano. So there's quite a lot of dynamic going on stage, but we'll utilize backing tracks to provide the orchestra and the sort of percussion. That's kind of a budget reality at the moment, and we'll see how these gigs go, and if they get enough support, then we'll expand the act, as it were. But it'll be a good show. I think 1.5 hours of good material.
Fantastic. And you've got Arena on tour, have you, this year, Clive?
We're off on tour in all of May. I think we start at the end of April, and it's a 30th anniversary, so I think we're going everywhere we can. And it's an interesting set list, I can tell you that, because I've been working on it, because I have to do it now, because by the time I'm doing some Pendragon, when I get back from Pendragon, I'm only a few days away from rehearsing for the arena thing. And it's a good set. It's a good mixed set. We represent every single album that we've made, which it gets harder every time we bring an album
I
out. There's 10
know, a
albums
bit
now.
hard knowing what to leave out because everybody has a favorite.
Well, I think, yeah, they do. Most people will find there's something in our set to keep them happy. I'd like to think anyway. So yeah, yes, that's coming up.
And the same with Imaginarium, Laura. It's going to be 2 albums, 2.5, well, 3 albums really, with your album, from the outside in. It'd be hard to know what to leave out in a live concert.
Yeah, it's always hard to leave some of the other songs home, but in between, if we decide to make something, like we did in this year, for example, in Holland, we brought to life some obviously pieces from the outside in, which was really, really amazing. And this because I enjoyed the first part too. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. And well, for sure, the whole Siege is going to be played and performed. Yes. Then we'll see. As far as I can see, my songs will be all in from the Medici, nearly all in. So I'm happy about that because I love Duty of Love. I love Legacy, powerful song. Duty of Love is powerful. I love Glass Throne, whatever, yeah. And our duet, well, that's one of my favorites. I think it's such a powerful duet. So it's a Fortune Reverse is beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And the Mortal Light, is that a concept which is coming this year, Clive? Or
yeah, it is. Work has already started on the artwork. Funny enough, normally it comes after the mix, but I sent the material to Carl, but it's such a big project that it's taken him longer than he expected. So any time now, he's going to be sending me the initial mixes. But the album, it's the musical is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, so it's big. And because up until this one, I've always made myself the rule that Act 1 should be about an hour, Act 2 should be about 50, maybe 55 minutes. And that's the kind of the rule that you stick to generally in if you're doing a West End production or something like that, including an interval. You're still in time to catch the train home. But I thought for this one, this third Alchemy, I just thought, sod it. I'm just going to do what I want. So, I mean, I worry about the length if a director takes it and says, let's do it in the West End, where you can work out how to cut it down. But so, yes, it's quite long. I'm waiting any day now. I should get the mix or the initial mix for it. So we're closing in. Yeah.
Laura, are you on this as well? Laura?
Yes.
Oh, great. That's brilliant.
I'm Macaria. I'm the baddie.
Oh, lovely.
Of course. I'm the baddie. I love to be the baddie, actually. Except no, well, no, I wasn't baddie in when I sang Contessina. But for this, yes, I love Macaria is a great character, and I enjoyed the song so much. Well, Macaria, the principal song is wow, a jewel, and I still remember when Clive just wrote to me, listen, I have written a song. It's Macaria, and I see you as a character. Do you want to be part of it? Guess what I did, David? Yes. Yes. And that was it.
That's fantastic. Right. We look forward to that, and we very much look forward to 4th of April for the official release of Imaginaerium, and we look forward to live dates. All it remains for me to say thank you both so very much for putting up with me for another interview. And hopefully I'll be back sometime next year.
And thanks to you, David. You are a great host as always, great questions, and lovely as always.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Clive, and thank you, Laura.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.